First thing I just want to make clear is that I'm no different than anybody else. I'm no different than anybody in this crowd. I get emotional very easily. I cry very easily. I shed a tear when Cheryl mentioned she found love and had a baby. So that was huge to me. And I am no different than Eric. I was the least important person in college. No one wanted to hang out with me. That's how I felt all the time. It was so crazy about me. Why would anybody want to talk to me? And I'm fortunate because I've been given this genie that has an extremely high tolerance to pain and operates high above its lactate threshold. I have been gifted with that genius. And I'm an extremely fortunate, blessed individual. And no one could ever tell me otherwise. And I am just like you. I get all excited when something goes wrong in my life. Whenever, just like you, right? You screw up really bad, or there's circumstances out of your control that places huge obstacle in front of you, and you get all anxious because you know right after you get past this obstacle, something good's going to happen. Every time something unsavory enters my life, something good follows. Every single time. Just like you know that it doesn't just happen. You have to work, move it around a little bit, shake it, put your heels in, get your hands dirty, and make something good come from this adversity. You just make something happen. Because you'd rather be happy than sad. That's why you do it, because you'd rather be happy than sad. And the only way to do that is to make your situation work for you instead of against you. If you let this gorilla control your life, you're going to be maybe a little bit sad. But if you take this gorilla and walk down the street with it, you're going to be that much happy. Shoot your own gun. And then, when you have this, you hear the knock on the door, you put your eye up in the peephole, and you see this gnarly, toothed beast out there. And it's adversity, and you're like, you have a choice. You can open the door, try to make friends with Mr. Gnarly Tooth. Or you can put your shoulder up against it, hold it out, not open the door, just refuse to deal with it, and then it bashes in the door and knocks you over, breaks your shoulder, and screws up the whole house, and you still got to deal with it. So why not just open the door and open your mind and your heart and accept this adversity that's now ventured into your life and see what it can do for you. See what you can extract from this negative. Instead of seeing what the negative is here to take from you, see what it can give to you. And that takes effort. It takes work. And that's something that I've learned over the years. I wasn't born with this knowledge that I could take something good from everything bad. But bad things keep happening, and I keep getting good stuff from them. And I've learned to, get excited. I literally get excited when bad things happen. Because experience has taught me something good is going to follow. And when I lay in the hospital, that's my own fault. I smashed up my car. I had a few beers. I fell off the wheel. I'm not the least bit proud of that, and that's my thing to wrestle with. But that's what happened. And I lay in the hospital, and they, 5 operations later, my leg was killing me. They told me to have to amputate. And, I never thought, why did this happen to me? I was so lucky because I know why it happened to me. It was my fault. I made a bad decision, and it resulted in, consequences. So I never had to wrestle with that, why did this happen to me? It was obvious. So my only option was to make something good out of it. How can I make this loss of my leg work for me instead of against me? And I didn't, have any answers then, by any means. It was all so fresh. And all the answers I really needed, all the big, profound questions were answered the day I got out of the hospital. I checked out at 7:30 a.m. on a Tuesday, and I got home to my apartment. I was on crutches. I couldn't wear a leg because the damage to my residual limb was too great. I had to wait for it to heal before I could actually bear weight. It sucked. So anyway, I'm standing there on one leg in front of the mirror. I'm combing my hair. I'm listening to Aerosmith Stream on the radio, and I'm just in a great mood, combing my hair, singing and dancing because I'm clean. And I look in the mirror, and I'm like, holy crap, I just lost my leg and I'm perfectly happy. I have never been this happy before with your leg, just because I'm clean. And it became so incredibly obvious that happiness was not contained in my left foot. That was not the source of all of it. It was so crystal clear at that moment that I had it beat already. I had it licked. I was the same guy I ever was, the same happy-go-lucky, chuckle-headed guy. It was the same heart and soul, the same mind, the same spirit. It became so, it could have been the happiest day of my life. Because I had just learned all the lessons of the universe. That I didn't need my physical self to be happy. That happiness was something else, detached from my physical being. And I saw myself in the mirror, and from that moment on, I have not been the least bit bummed out about being a one-legged dude. I'm just like you. I get bummed out with other stuff. I don't have enough money, or I'm home alone on Saturday night. That bums me out. But it's not even related to the Lord. It's a whole different thing. But I was still, I was 25. I was single. I had a lot of questions. Who's going to date me? I'm a freak. That was still something I wrestled with for about a week, and then I fortunately had a couple of really wonderful women in my life, and I kept dating them both, and it was great. Nothing had really changed. And that taught me again. The next thing is I'm happy with me, and everybody else is happy with me. So what's the problem? And almost immediately I learned that what happened to me is going to help other people too. And I wasn't trying to learn this. It happened. I was home for about a week after I got checked out of the hospital, and I was just bored out of my mind. I had to go back to work. You're going to watch so much TV. And I went back to work, and on Monday morning, I crouched in there, and for 3 months I was on crutches, and the very first day I went back to work, everybody was like, there's that guy just hustling up. He's already here to work. He's making stump jumps. He's working 5, 10 hours, 7, 10, 8, 10 hours a day. He's just doing his thing like he never missed a beat. What the hell am I going to complain about? What? I have to just keep working too. I can't complain about my coffee or my hair or anything because look what he does. And I wasn't trying. I was doing it for me. I was a pretty selfish guy. I was doing it for me. And people were getting something out of it. And that really fired me up. I'm like, wow, this thing that I wasn't so happy about is good for other people. And I was just starting to scratch the surface. And then I had to get a good leg. The first leg I was given was actually kind of a piece of shit. I sit at my desk, and I wiggle it, and it falls. You don't have to be a doctor to know that you want your legs down. But I was able to, but there's also blessings in that too. Your leg falls off. You can get something good out of anything. Like when you're skiing down a black diamond and you crash and your leg pops off and everybody freaks out. You don't get that unless you're in the club. You do that with 2 legs. That expression on everybody's face, it's a beautiful thing, though. And it's happened in many places. But I did want my leg to stay on. When I met a process who showed me this really cool running leg, and he'd have me running in no time. I was excited about it. I wanted to run. I had run like 13 months. I was pretty active after I kid growing up. I was voted most athletic in 6th grade. How'd that go? I just wanted to be active again. And I don't want to run a marathon. I just wanted my legs down. I was crossing the street. But he told me he'd have me running a marathon, and sure enough, he did. 2 years later, he had me running a marathon. In New York City, 1995, those 26.2 miles were incredibly painful. Except for that last little bit, the last quarter mile, coming around from Central Park, hanging right into Central Park, and there's millions of people, hundreds of thousands of people there, screaming for the one-legged marathoner, because if you don't cheer for the one-legged marathon, you go to hell. So everybody has to cheer. And I'm all fired up. I'm feeling no pain, and I crossed the finish line, and I just got beat by 16,000 people. But I just beat 9,000 two-legged freaks like him. It was just an amazing thing that I ran a marathon after I lost my leg. And it was not lost on me that it probably took the loss of my leg to get me to run a marathon. And I was so overwhelmed with this. I bawled my eyes out on this bench in Central Park that I could not believe what I had just witnessed, experienced, and then been part of. And wow. And I knew that I was destined for disabled athleticism. This is my lot in life. For whatever reason, I don't know. And I just went after full board. I quit my job, I moved to Colorado, and started training full-time. Pursued the U.S. Disabled Ski Team, and trained 6 months out of the year, full-time, 8 hours a day, either skiing or tuning skis or watching video and pursuing the U.S. Disabled Ski Team to go to the Paralympic Games in Japan in 1998. And I showed up for my first qualifier, Park City. I crashed, broke my shoulder, got a concussion, and I didn't make the team that day. It's quite obvious, because they told me that when I was in the hospital. Yeah, I didn't know shit. But then something good came from it, like it always does. I couldn't go to Japan and compete with my new friends, so I took up when I wasn't skiing in the winter, I found triathlon in the summer. I really loved that swim, bike, run sport. And my friends went to Japan, and I swam, bike, and ran across America with 3 other disabled people to raise money for disabled kids. And what a blessing that was. To spend some time with a quadriplegic, nipples down, he's got nothing. Arms are paralyzed, but not completely. He drives his hand cycle across America. And he broke his neck, he lost the ability to sweat, so he has to spray himself with a water bottle so he doesn't overheat and die as he rides his bike with his arms. And I'm riding my bike, and I'm thinking, how unbelievably lucky I am, only to be missing my leg below the knee on the non-dominant side. It's very easy. If you're going to get an amputation, get one of those. You can see there, it's not so limited. And I learned how unbelievably lucky I am to be, you know, only to have the slight physical imperfection that I have. And then I just kept going at it. I won a couple of national championships on the bike 3 weeks after I finished crossing America. And then I did my first Ironman a few months later. And I've since done 10 Ironman triathlons. And I don't know if you know what an Ironman is, but I'll tell you just in case. You swim 2.4 miles, then you bike 112 miles, and then you run a marathon. Stupidest thing I've ever been. But for some reason, I really get off on that. I get off on that self-asking. I just love it. I love crossing the finish line. That's what it boils down to. I don't always like the pain my ass feel as I ride my bike for 5 hours. I really enjoy that stuff. But I love that feeling of crossing the finish line after just pushing yourself for so long, and you've done something that you wouldn't ever have thought you could do. I remember in 1978 when the Ironman first debuted, and I was in 5th grade, and I was like, how does anybody do that? How is it even physically possible? And then I lost my leg, and then I did 10 of them. And then in 1990, in 2005, I raced in Coeur, Idaho, and I finished in 10 hours, 9 minutes, and 17 seconds. And I came in 89th out of 2,000 able-bodied people, in the top 5% out of everybody there. And it occurred to me that I got here because something terribly bad happened to me. And I used it to my advantage, and then I quit my job and became a full-time amateur athlete and trained all the time, and did everything I could to be as fast as I could. And I showed up to work, I showed up, and had the best day ever. Fastest any one-legged guy I'd ever gone out. And that sticks to this day. And I didn't do that all by myself. I did it with coaches, I did it with a lot of the spirit stuff that's out there. I am sold on the idea that there's a lot of energy that comes to us from other people from other places. And sometimes they're really bad things that are not easy to even, they're not lighthearted bad things, they're bad-hearted bad things. I was there to race. When we showed up, my fiance, my lovely, beautiful fiance, she was called home to Australia because her father had 3 days to live. He was dying from pancreatic cancer. And when I raced that day, I thought about it the whole time, how, this pain on me right now is nothing. This is not suffering, that's suffering. Right now, I am doing this to myself, and I'm choosing to be here. And it took away all my pain, and I raced as hard as I ever had that day. And David Weatherall has a lot to do with that. And I crossed the finish line, I pulled my eyes out again. I was so happy that I just got faster than I ever had, that anybody ever had. And that'll never be taken away, and I'm proud of it. And I'm a little bit vain about it, I brag about it a lot. But I know that I didn't do it all by myself. And I knew that it took something bad to make something good out of it. So you can even benefit from other people's suffering, which you don't want to take advantage of that. But you find a way to twist it around to help somehow. From I can think of a million things that have snowstorm, and they make you touch your nose and walk heel to toe and do all this stuff, and then they tell you that your license was suspended and then you have to spend 5 days in jail in the state of Colorado. What would you do? Well, when it happened to me, I said, this is just the opportunity I've been looking for. 5 days by myself to start a project. I can't go anywhere, I can't do anything, I might as well write a book. So I checked into jail with my legal pads of paper and started writing my story. And I did 2,500 push-ups in those 5 days. That was my own self-mandate. And I checked out of jail 5 days later, and I got back in that little beat-up Traeger with the new headlight and the coat hanger door handle. And I sat in the car, and that was awesome! I'm all fired up with this book, I'm all jacked up from push-ups. I made a bunch of friends in there, that wasn't so bad. And then if I can make jail work for me, stuff against me, bring it on. Because they're all opportunities, aren't they? And then my book came out 3 years later in the USA Today, said that my breezy tone is nearly irresistible. And I've gotten so much use out of it. And I think you see the point. It's all about attitude, isn't it? It's all about how you view your situation. Do you see it as an opportunity or you see it as an obstacle? When you look through the little door, peek, you see a bad thing out there? Well, maybe it's actually a sheep in wolf's clothing. Wolves. Maybe it's a good thing disguised as a bad thing. You let it in and you let it help you. Because it's not going to help you if you don't let it in. You're not going to benefit from anything you ever experience in life if you put up some sort of shield to keep it up. No matter if it's good or bad. When I was 16 years old, I put myself in a foster home because my dad was a little heavy-handed, a little harsh with the words, drank a little too much, and I didn't like it. So I put myself into a foster home, and my life got better. And the bonuses rained upon me. My family got closer, and I went to the University of Massachusetts for free. And when I lost my leg and I lay there in the hospital, I thought about it. I've been through some crap before, and it's been good for me. This is going to be good for me. So make all your crap work for you. Thank you very much.